welcome to our latest webinar. Uh, I want to introduce Nick Smith with Hauska. It is all about AI and how to use it for residential, the residential profession, and how it can best be used. And he's going to go through the program that he has and everything that he does. And without further ado, again, we are recording this just for everybody to understand, and it will be made available in pieces. This one here will probably have a week where only those of you who are registered will be able to review it, and then after that, we'll probably make it public. But for that amount of time, only those of you who are registered and able to show up are going to be able to view this presentation again. But at this point, I would like to introduce Nick and thank you for coming, and go ahead and take it away.
All right, I appreciate it, Dennis. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I just wanted to, I'll start with like a background. I'm going to assume with this group of people that everybody has had some kind of interaction with an AI tool or rendering tool of some type. So I just want to give you, so I'm not going to really get into that. I will show you the beta platform that, we're asking people to sign up for. That's the objective of it. The end goal of this is I want to come away with this with a beta group of designers that we can engage with. We can get feedback on the AI products, and then we can start uploading their house plans to our Web3 platform in preparation for an eventual marketplace. So just a little bit of background. I started drafting in high school, and from there, I went into construction, just at the bottom as a laborer, went up through, owning a construction company. Then I started really getting into, integrating, construction with the drafting experience, and got into design build. Once I was in design build, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. It was a lot of risk. For me, I wasn't comfortable with the risk reward. I feel like I was hanging out on the limb for a lot of money for a little bit of reward. So I started thinking through ways to get out of that, right? Which led me into real estate sales. So for a good chunk of years, I was doing design, build, and real estate sales together, and it worked. It was cool. And we were in Utah, and I'm in Utah now, but so we went from Utah to Austin, Texas. And once I got to Texas, I got a Texas real estate license. A real objective was to drop the design build thing. But when I got to Texas, everybody and their dog had a real estate license. I mean, it was just, the market for it was horrendous, right? It was just completely saturated. And so I was talking with one of my builder clients one day, and he was lamenting about how there wasn't enough designers in the area. I said, well, okay, I can do that. And I did one house for him. And, 4 weeks later, I sent out Christmas cards to all the builders in the area. And, within 2 months, I was fully transitioned into just designing full time. And that's when I went out and got the CPBD certification, did all that kind of stuff, got teed up. And, that was probably 8 years ago or so, maybe 9, not really sure. But once I was behind a computer full time, my ADHD brain I can't just do one thing. So I took up trading. And a little bit of backstory to that, why I picked up trading and investing and things like that, is because, I was doing design build and trying to become self-employed. I was about 23 at the time during 2008. Right. And so I got slapped upside the head so hard, so unbelievably hard. And I just told myself then, I said, I will never be caught blindsided to the forces that are at work again. And so I started paying attention, so there was paying attention to the economics and, and technology and where we're at. And so I, did some reading and things, but I really didn't have time to trade until I was behind a computer. And then that's where behind a computer all day. And that's where I picked up trading. And so, once I got into trading and investing, it, naturally led down kind of a crypto hole because that's what was happening in the world at the time. And, which landed me about 3 years ago. I was designing a house, listening to a webinar, and the guy on it said, the conversation was surrounding NFTs. And if anybody doesn't know, NFT stands for non-fungible token, basically, a document online that you can't modify, right? It lives on the blockchain. And the guy said, he's like, well, all NFTs are documents with serial numbers. And I was like, all right, that's interesting. Maybe I could make my house plan an NFT. That'd be cool. And so I started kind of digging into it and poking at it. And, it was like, yeah, I could do that, but nobody cares. Like, who cares if it's an NFT? Yeah, at the end of the day, you need a PDF that you can print out and put it on the job site or put on your iPad or something else. Right? It just wasn't applicable. And so I spent a few years poking at it and trying, and nobody even really knew what I was talking about. I go to web development companies and they're like, yeah, no, we don't know what you're talking about. We don't want your business, bye. Tried to get a couple of people to develop it and it really didn't work out. And so it went on the back burner after about a year and a half of that, it kind of went on the back burner. And then I spent all of 2022, right? Yeah, 2022, learning 3ds Max. I'm a Revit guy, right? That's just what I like to use. And so I learned 3ds Max, spent a whole year doing it. I mean, I remember coming home and telling my wife, like, I learned how to make water today. And she was looking at me like I'm stupid, but I was like, you don't know how hard it is to make good looking water and to give it depth and blah, blah, blah. And so that was a year of that. I mean, just late nights learning and learning and learning, trying to figure it out, and got to the point where I could actually produce some renderings, right? And that was late 2022. Well, then one day in January 2023, I wake up to news, the latest news is OpenAI has released all this generative AI stuff, right? And I looked at it and I knew immediately, I said, everything I just did last year is now obsolete. Like, I just burnt a year of time that I could have been playing with my kids. I could have been going to ball games, going hiking, doing whatever I wanted to do, other than learning a software that just got displaced by machine learning. So, but then during that whole process of exploration, my first interaction with ChatGPT is like, I can't believe I'm having a conversation with the computer. Like, this is incredible. But then it clicked. I said, that's it. It's the generative AI that's going to drive new users, and then we will plug in Web3 on the back end and give them Web3. Most people don't care what blockchain is. They don't care what Web3 is. The vast, if anybody knows what a technology adoption curve is, there's early adopters, innovators, people that they got to have the new iPhone, regardless how much it costs, right? They've got to have the biggest TV. They got to have all the way through. And then there's the mass of the market, which is, okay, I'll use it, but not for that price. I'll use it if it makes my life better, right? And then there's the people on the other side of the spectrum that, until they absolutely have to, they're not going to use the technology. They are, the people that still want landlines, or whatever it is. And I'm not saying anything right, wrong, or indifferent. That's just simply, people have different personalities, and that's the way technology gets adopted through a society. And so I was like, okay, that's it. Like, AI, we can have this new technology, we can revolutionize, the industry, we can apply it, and then it's a way to give people a bridge into Web3 for the masses, right? For all the people that don't want to deal with wallets and and all the stuff that comes with Web3 space. We're just gonna plug it in. And so that's where Hauska was born. You know, I reached out, you know, initially it was like, I envisioned this workflow for myself, you know, being a professional in the industry is like, if this could get automated, that would be sick. If this could be done, that would be sweet. If this piece could happen, that would make my life so much easier. And so that's how Hauska was born. That's the backstory behind it. And that was about a year ago, roughly. Yeah, about February, March is when I finally found some developers that knew I was talking about. It's like, yeah, okay, we can help you get there. So we, you know, pick the low-hanging fruit of the generative AI image generation stuff. And it got us in the door, but it's still, I couldn't put a house on chain, right? And so we spent all year last year and you know, we'd be in development meetings and we'd be talking about the AI stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, but what about on chain? You know, and it's like throwing a hand grenade into a meeting. It's just like, what are you talking about? We're talking about image generation. You want to bring, you know, we're putting plans on chain, but it's just something that couldn't, I just feel that even though it's not the most interactive piece of technology, I feel that where we're at in the technology adoption curve is to, you know, that is the next frontier, is this collection of technologies, is artificial intelligence, which is machine learning, which is Web3 technology, which is you know, machine remembering. And that is what, you know, the next 30, 40 years is going to be built off of. You know, think about like when we were in 2000, right? 2001, tech bubble burst, everything pulls back. And, you know, it went from the fringe people doing the .com stuff to, over the last 23 years, it had become the backbone of our society, what we're doing today, right here on this meeting, interacting this way. And so that, in my opinion and my team's opinion and our view, that is where the technology is going, right? Okay, so there wasn't a way to put a house on chain. Wasn't a way. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out how to do it. And finally, in December, I think it was 27th or something of 2023, I put the first plan on chain. We figured it out, did it, put the first plan on chain, and like we made history. And to this moment, you got to understand, like, this is my whole existence coming to a head, right? This is, you know, I've been, in particular, not just the history in my life and building up to this company and things like that, but it's the 3 years of trying to put the plan on chain. And so I got the notification. I was on my way home from somewhere, I don't remember where, but we were about maybe an hour and a half away from the house. And I got the notification like, okay, here's the setup. You can put something on chain. And so I was stoked, right? And I called my operation guy, Carlos, and I said, hey, meet me at the house. Call my wife with me. I said, well, this is going to be like ceremonial. And it was going to be amazing. And so we get home and I'm anxious. I'm driving fast and get all the way back to it. And I grab the file. I drop it in the folder. It goes on chain and nothing happens. It was the most anticlimactic moment of my life. Like it was the most disappointing thing ever. Like, you know, confetti didn't fall from the heaven, balloons didn't come out, Fox News and CNBC weren't asking me for interviews, right? And I don't know why, but I just had it built up in my head like it was going to be something big. But that's when I was like, okay, well, that user experience sucks. Like, we got to give them something, at least a ding, a light, a notification, something. So it's a little more engaging than that, right? So that's where we're at. And so we put the first house on chain. We did some, you know, we issued a remodel tool last year that was, you can take a picture of a house and it gives you remodel options. And there's this few other people, you know, out doing the same thing. That is not, in my view, that kind of generative use for the AI, generative AI, you know, is widgety at best. Like it's going to be free, right? It's going to be like email someday. So yeah, why it is cutting edge. Now this is an example I used my wife the other day. Did something, or she was looking at online and she saw some picture and the person had like 8 fingers or something. She's like, oh, look, it's AI, it's 8 fingers. I said, we're going to look at what we're going through right now. We're going to look back in 5 years and it's going to be like when you see a picture of somebody holding a big brick telephone, right? Or some of those, I think of like images from the 50s when people think they're so up to speed and so hip and everything, and it's just simply clunky. And so that's where I think we're at with, just the average AI machine learning stuff right now. So what we're doing as a company is, we are really pushing the edge. I mean, we are standing on the very edge. We put the first house on chain. We put, you know, the AI tool that I'm about to show you today is the most up-to-date, absolute best thing on the market. Actually, and I don't even, what I'm going to show you is a static image from the developer. Like I'll go through the process and stuff, but it's not an actual generation so I haven't even used this. By the time, if you guys sign up, we'll be rolling, everyone will get an email next week, hopefully early Monday, Tuesday next week, and you can use a platform. Like we're all going to get it at the same time. And this will be the first group of people that have the latest model with the most cutting edge stuff. And there's a lot of work to do. And that's why this is a beta group, right? And so those are the kinds of people that I want to engage with on this project, is people that understand where we're at in the process. Is like, it's not perfect. Yeah, I know it's not perfect. Got it. Give me some specific feedback, and we'll be issuing forms. There'll be ways like Zendesk on the platform and things like that. You can provide feedback, but it's going to be very important that you're getting into this with the understanding that it's a relationship. I'm going to ask you at the end of this call, I'm going to ask you for your contact information, even if you've already signed up for Hauska in the past. I'm going to ask you to fill out a form because that'll lift to our database. It'll consolidate your account, and then we'll be able to go from there. So I'm asking for 2 things. I'm asking for you to fill out a form, and then I'm asking for some patience. That's what I need. In exchange for that, the trade is we're going to give you completely free, unlimited access to the latest AI models. You're going to be able to use them. You'll be able to use them in your workflow. We're going to be working to plug into all the Revit, Autodesk, SketchUp, all the major platforms, things like that. And we're going to give you, Web3 storage and things like that. So that's the exchange. That's what, that's what we're doing here. That's why we're here today. So I've got a couple of slides that was nothing real formal. And then, so I'll kind of go through the slides. I see the chat in my vision going, and I'm getting some notifications through Slack. I'm assuming those are questions that need to be answered. And so let me just cruise through this, what I have, and then we'll kind of go to more of an open dialogue where we'll ask questions and things like that. And I do have some of my team on the call today too. I don't exactly know who's all here. It should be at least Sam, Steve, Shacy, and Carlos. And so Shacy's kind of holding the whole thing together, right? Steve is helping architect the business structure of things. Stam is architecting the technology, and Carlos is really in charge of the operational aspect of it. So those are the people. And why I bring that up is if they're able to answer questions I'm not able to answer, they're on and they'll be able to give some insight. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll go from there. All right, so view, let me get up here to the top, view slideshow. Okay, so Hauska, right? Just heard the backstory. There, in order to effectively provide like applicable use cases for this technology, we've decided it really needs to be 3 pillars. One, you have design, right? That's the designing, that's all the AI stuff, and I'll get into that. One is protect, because that's going to be a conversation in and of itself. And then the other is the exchange, is the ability to sell your plans online, leverage the technology, and not just plan details too. Like you can sell specific details. And well, I won't go into that. I've got it. There's 3 pillars of the business: it's design, protect, exchange, and I'll dig into each one a little deeper. So we did my brief overview. So our solutions, then create should be design. That's a typo on my part. Is AI design app for specific use application. Protect is an encrypted Web2, Web3 AI protection platform. And exchange is private microsites showcase portfolios to clients and public marketplace. When I did the webinar in December, I asked the question, do you want like a juggernaut style platform, or do you want just self-branded platforms? And the consensus, and of course there were people on both sides of that, but the consensus was like kind of both, right? We want to be able to display our work, have an easy way, so you'll be able to format plans with AI, you'll be able to upload them to chain, and then you'll be able to send your clients like, here's my portfolio, as well as, and it's all tied into the marketplace. Because one thing I learned when I started selling house plans online, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a ton of work, especially if you're not, an ArchViz specialist, right? If you're just the designer, and not into the renderings. And so we're looking to really cut down that process, expedite that process, and just give really, really decent tools that you can work with. Okay, so here's the platform. This is our tech stack. This is the way it works. So we're building on what we're calling right now is decentralized cloud. And I'm not going to get all completely blockchain geeked out on this where I could, because decentralization is like a whole thing. Like it's a big deal, but it's not, it's like vitamins. They're good for you, but a lot of people don't want to take them. And so decentralized cloud, we have AI protection, and then design apps. And so we've talked a lot about the design aspect of it so far, and I just want to finish this off. So before I go into the other two, and really, mainly Hauska Protect, because it's a huge issue, and we're working diligently to deal with it. We're not trying to just give you pretty pictures and stuff. We are trying to develop a business structure, a workflow, something that you can sink your teeth into and rely on and depend on. And that's why there's the 3 pillars. So as far as design, you got the remodel tool, right? You take a picture, here's the vision of it. So I'm going to a client's house, right? I have my iPad. They want to remodel their kitchen. I'm able to take a picture of their kitchen with my iPad, get remodel options, show them like, oh yeah, cool. I like that one. All right. Then I'll select one of the images, and then I'll be able to further refine the image. Okay, you like this, let's say I like that layout, but I don't like the colors of the countertops, or I don't like the floor, or I don't like the paint. Okay, cool. So we can start, we'll be able to refine them from there. And so that's the remodel aspect of it. Render it is going to be the platform plugins, right? So imagine this, like it doesn't matter what platform, it's all the same workflow. You're doing design, you're designing a house, you have all your interior elevations, a couple of 3D views, maybe depending on what software you're using. You can select, a list of views, and then globally control all the rendering stuff, and it's doing it instantly. And like right now, if anyone's using Revit, there's a plugin in 24. I know it's been out for a little bit. It's called Twin Motion, maybe. I can't remember what it's called, but it's kind of cool, and it does a good job, but it still takes time. It's not to say that you can't get renderings other ways. It's saying we are going to be able to produce 30 renderings at once, globally controlling all the material finishes in it. and, you know, cut hours and hours and hours out of your workflow. That's the purpose of it, right? And when we're talking about AI, it's not, you know, I'm not afraid of machine learning, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it, taking my job. I don't feel that it will ever replace the architect or designer. I feel that, you know, but what we can get it to do is cut 50% of your workflow out, which is amazing. And then, so we're trying to give you your time back. What you do at that time, go to the kids' ball game, do whatever you want, work more if that's your, you know, if that's what you want to do. Whatever you do, we'll just give you your time back, right? So that's render it, right? It's a plugin. You'll be able to render all your stuff, and away you go. Detailing. Now this is cool. We were just having a conversation over collaborating on a document just the other day, and the Sam, the developer, made some kind of comment about, oh, we could do this, that, or the other, and it's like, oh, you know, AIA has written specifications for detailing on how this stuff should go. If you can get the machine, if you can teach the machine that language of, you know, standard detailing, you know, and then get the machine to reach into the platform, Revit, AutoCAD, whatever it is, and detail what you want it to detail as you see fit. I mean, that's going to cut out a huge part of the workflow. So, so that's one of the things on our, and, you know, in theory, sure, we can do it, and we're working on it. Will it be right away? No, it will not be right away. It's going to take a boatload of trial and error to get that right. But this is the way I see that happening is so I'll do like design development on a house, right? I'll set up my sheets and they're all blank. They don't have any details on them. You know, the model is there, the floor, all the plan views are there. Then I can go to a sheet, I can click detail. I'll be able to say detail floor plan, and it details the whole floor plan. Detail electro block, whatever, you know, on and on and on, and even specific components. So anyway, so render it and detailing, you know, are for office application, and it's to really cut down your workflow. The remodel is more for client interaction and client engagement, right? And just to, like, it's not going to be perfect, but it'll get the deal done. And if they're excited, you know, clients are getting instant satisfaction. That's always a good thing, instead of having to go back to your office and do all this stuff. And so you'll be able to align quicker with clients with that. So, okay, that's the design aspect of it. That's probably enough on that. The protect is huge. So here's what's going on. And I don't know how many people are aware of it. And I wasn't actually aware of it myself. This Steve on the team, that he's the one that really brought it to light, is that AI, people are, you know, training AI now to scour your intellectual property, songs, images, art, whatever, right? For us, it's house plans, and then learn from it and skim off the top. And it's a huge problem. It's a very, very big problem. And so, you know, so what we're doing is called Hauska Protect. And Hauska Protect is something that you'll be able to use to protect your document. It's basically like kind of putting an invisible shield over your document, right? And so it foils the AI, and it, you know, ironically, you have to run it through an AI program to get it to do that, but it's going to foil the AIs that are scouring the internet looking to steal your intellectual property, and will in one way or another, it won't let them do that, right? And then, so the flow is you design your stuff, you protect your stuff, then it goes to chain. And the protection in the chain, you know, those are the things that are very, very, very important in my view, but are going to be overlooked, not, you know, because people just don't get it, or they don't care, or whatever, right? They want the new image generation thing, right? But those two things are to really be successful, I feel, in guiding the industry on this new technology adoption curve is going to be super, super important. And I feel our whole team feels that way. It's probably one of the most important aspects of the whole package. And then of course the exchange. The exchange is public portfolio, private portfolio, selling your stuff on chain, passive income. So the passive income, right? Right now, and I feel like there's probably a lot of this happening because I can't be the only one, but when 90% of the people that walk into my office say, here's my Pinterest board, here's my house board, here are 5 different floor plans I like, but I like the kitchen off this one, I like the dining room off this one, I like the master bedroom off that one, make me a mashup. And and okay, fine. The problem with that is, even though by law you're changing more than 10-20%, whatever the rule is for copyright laws, things like that, it's still just like those people should get credit, don't you think? I mean, wouldn't you want credit if you designed a killer master bath layout that now 20 other people are using in their designs or some variation thereof? That's what Web3 technology can do. We can get, if it's within our ecosystem, and you got to think of it like that, is it, and a dome, our ecosystem, everything that gets exchanged, AI generated stuff, plan, blah, 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 and there people are shopping. Like the marketplace is, our marketplace, just like the public marketplace in my vision, is a more interactive marketplace of like shopping on house plans online now, right? But it's, instead of just looking at 2-dimensional images, you have your 3D models, and you have some AI assistants to help you with creativity, and it's creativity on the front end for clients, it's productivity on the back end for professionals. And I just lost my train of thought. So so anyway, yeah, and so you'll be able to upload your stuff to the exchange. Oh, this is where I want to go. So that's the exchange. So you have your private portfolio, your public portfolio, and you can do all kinds of stuff with it, right? And that's what the decentralization is really about, is putting you back in control of your digital identity. That's, in a nutshell, what it is. And that's a whole conversation that we could just have out for hours and hours, but we won't. So, but here's something cool that is actually Sam's idea for the development. He said, what if since we're already doing listings, why can't builders list their properties online on our marketplace? I said, that's pretty cool, right? I said, okay, let's take that a step further. And you buy a plan, you enter an address, you list it, you click list. As a builder, they'll be able to, like, okay, we're using this plan, we're putting it on this property, we can, with proper contract, with proper compensation to the designers, everything, we're going to reuse their stuff as marketing assets, and then we're going to list the property. And with Web3 technology, well, we will also be able to facilitate the transaction, the real estate transaction on chain as well. That's not a unique idea of ours. That is something that's already happening. So that's where, as a package, that's where we're going, is bringing the industry up to speed with the current technologies to provide cutting edge, ways to use it in the direction that it's already going. Like, we're not trying to direct something. We're trying to let's give the people the tools to do it, right? Okay, so let's see what else we got. Here it is. Put first house on the blockchain, and I didn't even have this screenshot. It was so boring. Like, I didn't do anything. Okay, so here's a little bit on our new AI model that you're going to get access to, and we went for accuracy, right? Anyone that's used any kind of generative AI, whether it's ours or somebody else's, and you're a professional, like trying to produce stuff for clients, it just simply doesn't work as well as you need it to. AI will get it 90% of the way there and say, oh, that's good enough. No, we need it 100%. It like we, we've already worked through with the client, all the aspects of the building. They want the counter here. They want the cabinets here. They want the roof pitched like this. We don't need you to think like that. We need you to just simply color and make it pretty, right? We don't want you modifying stuff. And so that is the objective. That is what we are trying so hard to get. And we're getting close. I mean, you look at this, to me, this looks right here, looks like a window. These are all from the development team. These are not mine, but that looks like a window over here. Over here, it looks like it turned it into a hood, right? But if you look at the faucet comes down, I mean, it follows that very, very closely. It even picked up this little picture frame here. And so this what Keurig or whatever in the corner it is. So it's getting closer. That's my point, is as being something that, I'm not solely driving product development, but I can tell them that sucks. That's not going to work. It has to work like this. I understand what, professionals we do. That's how that's what I do on a daily basis. I draw houses. And so I know what is going to work and what not going to work. And so we're working through those things. So here's a house. This just came in this morning. So this, we're getting pretty close. The roof still looks a little fake, but look at the accuracy, right? I mean, that's what we're about right now. That's what we're super, honed in on, is we have to provide accuracy in order to make it useful for design professionals. And so it's good. I mean, it's getting there. Let's see what else we got. Poll, I'm not going to go to the poll yet. Let's get out of this. Let me walk you through. So if you sign up, this, I'm just going to kind of walk you through the platform and what to expect. I'll go back to the poll, ask the questions, and then we'll have some discussion. So when you click hauska.io, not AI.io, it'll bring you here. And, I put engineers on. So here's the thing with the Web3 is I think it's more than just house plan sales. It details. I mean, there's so much more to it. And so I'm trying to capture some engineers because I want to start, I need to understand the engineering workflow. I understand it from the designers / architecture point of view. I don't really, I need to understand it from the engineers. But a lot of those, all the boilerplate templates are like details and things like that. We can if they're on chain, this is kind of a squirrel moment. I apologize, but I got to say it. So in this house plan marketplace, right now, anyone that's in the industry, like, you do a generic house plan with lots of disclosures saying, this is a generic design. You're responsible to get your own engineering based on where you live, right? And, you can swap out wall types and stuff, but right. And so, but with Web3, we can go through and we can categorize per state. Like, I live again in Utah. I'm sitting in rural Utah right now. In rural Utah, we need this foundation type. We need this wall type. We need this R value, blah, 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 blah. Here are all your templates. Here are all your basic, detail components. They're on chain. We know they're verified because they have the chain. We went through the process and say, this is correct. This is the file you're going to. So as a home designer now, and this is kind of a grandiose moment, but if we could do that for the whole country, right? And get details, any details you want, then when someone buys a plan, they're like, oh, okay, I need it for Colorado. You can grab, drag and drop Colorado detail, right? I mean, there's a lot. This stuff can do so much. I mean, this technology is unbelievable. So anyway, I'll get out. So when you sign up, when you go to Hauska.io, you'll come here, fill this out. You're going to get an email. It just says, hey, thanks. Here's a summary. Here's what to expect in the coming weeks. And that's it. And then from there, we will engage you, one at a time with a contract. It's pretty standard. It's just like if you're going to sell your house plan on anything online, we're going to it's just a mutual agreement that you're going to give us permission to use your data in certain ways and things like that, right? And so I want to be very careful and take that very, I want to make sure we get that part right. I want to make sure everyone's comfortable. I want to make sure the contract's good. I want to make sure our files are in line. Like it's a crawl, walk, run process. It's not just 0 to 60 right now, right? And so right now we're crawling. We're trying to give you something of value by giving you the most up-to-date AI models. We're trying to get our systems in place and our contracts right and make sure everyone's happy and just win-win or no deal. I mean, that's the thing. And so anyway, this is what to expect. You'll land here, you fill this out, click submit, we'll be in touch. Monday, Tuesday, you'll get the AI model. We'll go through the contract. Once the contract is solid, everyone's good, you signed it, we've signed it. Then we'll issue, give you a file sharing platform. It's not going to be the Web3 platform because we need, at this point, we've almost made it too easy, and you could use it like your Google, your Dropbox or Google Drive, and just fill all kinds of crap up. And putting things on chain isn't free. So I don't want a bunch of random files, and it would create a huge mess if we just give people free access to it. So for now, maybe, I don't know maybe it'll be a Google Drive folder, maybe a Dropbox. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But we will share, have something that you can start putting your files into, and then we'll just, our team collectively will just take it in stride and start putting this stuff online. So, we're going to, let's see, where should we go from here? So I want to make it easy, right? My vision is to have, this is a document upload form, but it's just a placeholder. It's not, as you can see, it's not made for a house, to put a house on. But we just want to make it very easy and all contained within our one dashboard user interface that you can navigate, you can design something, you can protect it, then you can upload it, then you can put it on the exchange, which includes a document upload form, put the rendering you just made up, and hopefully we can cut this time down from several days or whatever it takes to get a house ready to go online after you create it for a client to, a few minutes, 30 minutes, it's hard to say, but really, really expedite the process. So, okay, this is our file. This is the Web3 file explorer. This is like, if anyone has ever tried to put something on chain and you know what I'm talking about, it is not the easiest thing to do. We've almost made it too easy. So I'm gonna have to, let me refresh here. I got kicked out so that you'll log in. Let's see, users, how's going? Okay, so this is like plan one. You're in your profile, you have all your designer info, your contractor will be here, stuff like that. Here's plan one. You're gonna have Web3 files, you have marketing assets, and you'll have an intake form. And so this is why it's so dangerous, because when a file goes into Web3, it gets put into queue it's automated to go on chain. Right. I mean, it's not, and the whole point of being on chain is that it never changes and it doesn't go away. And that's the purpose of it. And so when you sell a plan, because you're only going to have, maybe your CAD files, right? Or if you're going to offer 3D models, whatever, you have your working files that you're willing to offer, you have the PDF that you're willing to offer, those things go on chain. When we sell that and the transaction happens, we will reach into the blockchain, we'll make a copy of it, and then issue the new copy with ownership of, whatever the deal is, if they purchase one-time user agreements or whatever it is, right? Reaches in, it knows what the contract is, it's going to issue the user a document, and then away you go. Which, if anyone knows what an NFT is, and this is where it's different, is that we are making copies of the document on chain, so you know where the root is, you know what the source is, and you've like, you know, it hasn't changed is what I'm trying to say. Whereas an NFT, they're issuing like 1 of 100. Here's my piece of art. I'm issuing 100. It's value, there's value stored in that, right? And that's why the SEC is having such an issue with it. They're calling it securities. We don't want our house plans to be securities. It's going to cause a problem. And the way we do that is we make it so there's no limit on it. Security, that scarcity is what drives the value. And so if there's no scarcity, then it's like, okay, I'm going to sell this for $1,000. It's going to be $1,000 every time. And it's not, there's no end to it. So that's why we're going to, we're really going to control the narrative on this. We're going to control the user flow, right, on this Web3 aspect of it. Okay, cool. Now for this static render thing. So this is the new dashboard. Sam just barely built this like yesterday or the day before, and I love it. It's design, protect, exchange. And so we're trying to make this very simple, zero curve rendering software, zero learning curve rendering software. That's what we're going for. And so, okay, so here's version 2, and I'm going to pretend like I'm doing this, but I'm actually not. It's static image. So, but I really like this dashboard. I like what it's done. So we're gonna run to the project. It's warming up, and then we get our more accurate drawings, right? I mean, to me, that's pretty good. Looking at this, looking at that, I mean, very, very accurate. But now the battle is how do we give it the artistic element? How do we give it user control so you can change the settings without getting all wonky? Because what happens is the more you throw at it and the more times it renders, it iterates, the more pixels it wants to put in place. And the more it has to think, the more screwed up it's going to get. And so there's a fine balance of getting this thing to give you the results you want without going overboard and letting it think for itself. It's almost like I use the analogy of like trying to get a kindergartner to color within the lines. I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with. But so on this one, if you've ever used our other platform, when we were going through building that, I told Sam, I said, I would rather have 5 options where it looks super photorealistic than 100 options that look like cartoons, right? We don't want it to look like a Pixar film. It has to be photorealistic. And so this is our first step forward, and this is what you'll get on Monday, Tuesday, whatever day it is. You'll be able to write in your own prompts and mess with it and play with it. Just know that as you play with it and as you mess with it, it wants to think for itself. And that's what we need feedback on, right? So to get the idea where we're plugging into the drafting software globally, and you have complete control. I want a metal roof this color. I want board and batten siding this color. I want a little bit of stone on the bottom, right? To get to that point is going to take a lot of feedback and consistent and structured feedback, so we can build this thing out and get it to a point where like, okay, this is pretty good. Well, I need to drink water. That's all I had. I will stop sharing now, and let's go to try and catch up questions. See what's coming through. And I don't know, Dennis, if you have anything to say.
Well, first off, that was a great presentation. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Audrey had was it no Kim Abrams had the first question. It was kind of answered, but I'd like to hear you actually answer it on the videos. Are the design apps that you showed originally, are those the only platforms that are currently integrated with? In other words, you showed AutoCAD, SketchUp, ArchiCAD, and Revit.
We're going for all of them. But before let me clarify, we are not integrated yet, because before we integrate, we have to get the rendering thing right. Like we're going to build out a special group of developers that only speak Revit, that only speak AutoCAD, that only speak SketchUp, right? And that's the interaction you're talking about. Is we have AI developers, then we have those Revit developers, and we have to get those guys to talk. So right now it's not integrated with anything. You still have to do a screenshot or export an image some way and import it, which is cumbersome. We know.
Okay. Um, I'm trying to go back and find it. I keep screwing up and going that. Rose asked, when you talked about engineers coming in, she asked what types of engineers, software engineers, mechanical, civil, structural, or all of the above.
Um,
Um,
Real estate related, right? So we're not building stuff for software engineers. I see it as structural for sure, but I, you know, my operation guy, Carlos, and I, 2 weeks ago went up to an open house, and it was a MEP firm. And we had a long conversation about them because they still have standard detail depending on the environment. And, I started talking about this and like, hey, this is what we can do. And they just looked at me with blank stares on their face. So ideally it can work here. In 20 years, we'll look back at this conversation, I guarantee it, and be like, oh, okay, it's everywhere. It can work for all kinds of stuff, but we are going to direct it toward real estate development related activities.
okay, Rose also mentioned that when you say prompts for interior design, I can create onboarding design questions for clients in detail. Is that the kind of prompts that you're talking about going forward? Are those
Potentially, yeah. I mean,
detailed?
yes. If they send you, so if I'm hearing the question right, what I hear is they send you a list of this backsplash, that counter, that cabinet, blah 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 blah, and you're able to put that stuff in, and it spits you out the image. Yes, that is the objective. Are we there
Okay.
yet? No, because the more that's what the issue we're dealing with is. It can either be creative or it can be accurate. And by creative, I mean more like it can give really good artistic images, or it can be accurate. We're trying to find the balance of how to pull those two things together.
Okay. So Audrey, Alan asked a question, and this is in regards to you were talking about when somebody creates a design and they put it on your system, on the chain, and you said that hey, once it's there, that's always the beginning, and it goes from there all the time. It's forever.
Uh,
Uh, she wants to know what happens if you put that on there, and then let's say 2 weeks later you find an error in there that needs corrected.
you can
How
correct
do you
it.
how do you
So
deal with that?
let you can create, and that's the difference about what we have, is that we can take things off, but we want those instances to be few and far between. Like, you
Sure.
know what I mean? And that's the difference between what we're doing and like just, like a blockchain transaction that never goes away. And also, here's another thing I don't know, maybe this is a proper way to plug it in, is on-chain transactions, generally speaking, are public. People can see them. That's the immutable ledger thing. That's not the way this is set up. The public can't see it. So when you go through Hauska Protect and you protect your design, you're protecting the marketing assets that are going online. The chain protect our on-chain is private. You can't see it. So that.
Okay. Um, Haley asked, this seems pretty cool for remodeling a kitchen or bath. They're all finished materials for interior, but will it eventually provide you costs? So, and I can say that I know that costs can differ from one town from another as opposed to state to
Yeah.
state. So,
So that's the hard part, and that's what in our conversations are surrounding everything. When I speak of design software, I'm speaking from Revit because that's what I use. Okay, so when we were talking about the detailing aspect of it, that was one of my points in the conversation, was that this program is super smart. Like Revit is a very, very smart program. So if we can find ways to automate that and pull material lists, right, and things like that, I think it would be hard. and that's where you start, you know, and also like we could do specification writing with chat GBT. I mean, that's not like proprietary by any means, but it's just part of workflow. But it would be very hard to get accurate takeoffs, you know, from just a rendered image. I feel like to really do it justice, there would have to be some work on your end. So like you said, Dennis, is like it changes from town to town. It's like, okay, in my area, here are the costs, you know, which is, you know, maybe it can help you like cut some corners there. Because I know like right now with Revit, technically you can do it. I don't use it because I think material takeoffs are awful in there, and I don't have good experiences with them. But so I see that. I see the uh takeoff portion as more of a design platform function, and us going in the back door and like extracting the data that way.
Yeah, I can tell you from a standpoint of estimating, having done that for years, that
Oh,
it's almost impossible to get an accurate estimate, no matter how good you are.
yeah.
You get close, and that's as far as you get. So I can't imagine if all we can do is get close, how the AI is going to get perfect. It's always only going to ever get close. Um,
Right, right.
so
And that's the thing is like, and I gave this, I can't remember where I used this analogy, but here's this AI is not, it's like if you're going to train, if you're building a house and you wanted the best roofer on earth, you could train AI to, hypothetically speaking, like roof the house, but don't expect the roofer to hop down and put on siding or install windows. Right. I mean, so that's the thing is like, if that through our feed, through this beta group and through the feedback, if really that's, you know, something we have a large amount of people wanting to dig into, then we're going to have to do something very specific that only does that.
yeah. Yes. Yeah, I can see where you could really generate one area, get it perfect, and that begets four other areas that you got to
Mhm.
start working on. So I can see how that would really farm out a lot of beta versions for different uses where it's not just one system, it's one company that has 8 different things that they can do based on what you're looking to do, rather than
Right.
one company who has it all in one platform. Because some of our platforms try to do that. I'll give you an example. I know SoftPlan, it can do pretty good material takeoffs. And if you put in the right amounts for one area or even in multiple areas, you can come up with pretty close to a good price. But there's factors in there it can never do, things like how the framer does a corner, or how they use their
Yeah.
waste, or stupid things like that that
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
literally add two or three
Yeah.
thousand dollars to a build. So
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what people don't get. It's like, oh, well, you want to take, okay, well, who built the house? I mean,
yeah,
is he is he a, you know, a Gen Xer or a millennial?
yeah.
Like not to say those are just like, you know, people from the 60s, like the people that mentored me, not meant like screamed at me when I was working. You know?
Mentored you.
Yeah, yeah. And like those people, like that doesn't fly now, right? And
Yeah.
those people built differently than people today do. I mean, today is much more comprehensive. There's like toenail a couple things and let's go, right?
Hmm.
And so, I mean, it just evolves over time. So that's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah. The next one, Rose went further on the applications going. She's asking about chief architect. It shows that chief architect's one of them, and there's a whole list. So I'm assuming that anything that we could probably imagine, you're going to start working on trying to integrate.
Yeah, we want it. We'll start with the majors, right?
Right.
And then yes, we want all of it for
Because
sure.
it's interesting that you talked about, and to go back to your thing, you were talking about details.
Mhm.
Telling the program, hey, I want to detail that section. Well, like, so SoftPlan already does that.
Oh, okay. Cool.
SoftPlan, and when I say it does that, so I have to make sure that SoftPlan is set up in such a way that it knows how to build a house. All the
Hmm.
pieces have to be there. Otherwise, it's not going to give me an accurate detail.
Right.
Um, and even if I get it perfect, sometimes it still can't give me an accurate detail because it can't figure out the way that I want to make something work.
Right.
So I can see that the detail ideal on this is going to be great for more common, maybe generic details that
Right.
are different from California to Missouri to Wisconsin to Maryland. What I don't see it doing, because I mean, sometimes it's hard enough for a designer to do it by hand, let alone a program to do it, is when you have a very complicated area, in your mind how you want it, but you're not quite sure how to explain it to the computer program. I
Right.
can see those being parts where we're still going to have to always go in and probably go to something that can do line drawings to be able to get our details in and get
So,
them in correctly.
here's something that just came to mind. And Sam, correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost seems like on top of, the AI, way of doing things, that you would give the AI something like some of your plans, your specific, how you do stuff, right? And could learn off that. I mean, that might be, what do you think, Sam?
Yeah, you could explain to the artificial intelligence. Something we could do in the future is training a private artificial intelligence specific to you that understands you, how you write plans, how you design, all that type of stuff. So it's very catered to you and your interests, to make sure that the outputs from the artificial intelligence are following your design flow.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. The next one is from Paul. And I'm going to read this verbatim and see if I can figure it out. Can the context of the site be integrated into the rendering when other nearby houses, buildings, or landscape shown as well? Oh, if you're doing a house in a neighborhood, can you get something that shows maybe 4 or 5 other houses, a big picture, to put yours in and allow it to show all of that together? I think that's what he's asking.
I'll defer
Sounds
to,
like it.
I'll
Uh,
defer to Sam.
Can you repeat the question? So if you are taking a picture of a house, and there's a bunch of different houses around it, will that be included in the final render?
Can you include it? So I'll give you an example. You're in a neighborhood.
Mhm.
The neighborhood has maybe 3 different styles on each side. You're able to back up enough to get that blank lot with all of those houses in it. Maybe you've put your rendering, you want to put your rendering in the lot where you want it, and then have the AI show how this all works together so that somebody can see basically a picture of what the neighborhood's going to look like with your
Yeah.
new house in it.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where they're going with it, because sometimes, I mean, HOAs sometimes will make you take pictures of different houses, show why your house fits with everything, stuff like that. This could be a game changer. It could be something that really helps and
Mhm.
allows you to say, "Hey, I got this design. Now help me with these 2 houses on each side. Help me to come up with something that's going to fit with those, maybe complement or contrast, something like that." Will it be able to do that?
Right now, we haven't built the capabilities for that, but we'll keep that in mind for the roadmap. With artificial intelligence, there's tons of room for opportunity
Sure.
for stuff like that. So with the forms we'll be sending out, any ideas that anyone has surrounding stuff like that, that's definitely something that we can fit into our roadmap. Artificial
Yeah.
intelligence is really flexible.
Sure.
Uh,
I mean,
it would,
something like that should only take you what, 15, 20 minutes to develop?
yeah,
I'm sorry. I get asked that all the time when somebody wants to
Yeah.
move a wall. So I
Yeah.
had to try to find somebody to use that on. But that's what I wanted to understand is, in other words, so as we're going through this, we're thinking of things from a design perspective that maybe Nick, even though you do design, maybe you didn't think of because it's not in your box, not in your
No,
toolbox.
no, and that's the
Um,
thing, is because I hang out in rural areas. I do rural
yeah,
Texas, rural Utah, and rural Colorado because I hate going through HOAs and permitting
yeah,
stuff. So
I
yeah,
understand
no,
that.
and that's why that the hive mind, the collective beta group, we will achieve much better results for sure.
Okay. Rose asked another question. Can you explain further about the integration of the software that will be used, like AutoCAD, SketchUp, etc., and using the appropriate developer, AutoCAD developer, SketchUp developer, etc., so that Hauska AI can work if the integration is not in place yet? How can we immediately use it to see if this will be viable for our business if the integration is not in place yet?
So the best you can do right now is take a screenshot or export an image and upload. And Sam, we can do PDFs now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So PDF. So you're going to have to, without the integration, it can't go straight from the software to ours. It has to, you have to put it on your computer and then upload it to ours. So that's how you can try it out, I guess. But it just takes, we're, you're talking what, an extra 30 seconds or something. But those 30 seconds add up. And that's the whole point of the AI, is to develop workflows that it's 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 30 seconds here, an hour here, 4 hours there. And then that's how you your 40-hour work week becomes 20.
Okay, Audrey. This is all really wild from the perspective of somebody who misses browsing card catalogs.
Yeah.
Hold on, I just lost card catalogs in libraries, but does appreciate the current electronic capabilities, trying hard to keep up. Yes, Audrey, I'm right there with you. I miss looking up card catalogs. I miss some of even the hand drawings I used to do. I miss it,
Yeah.
but not enough to go back to it. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Ah. Um, oh, okay, hold on. This thing is jumping, and unfortunately, okay. Haley asked of another. She's got another question. One more question, just to clarify how this would work in my interior design business. Let's say I have a consultation for a kitchen or a bathroom model. Can I snap a photo of each area and show the client right there what the transformation will look like with more than one look?
Yes,
So,
you can do that. You can do that today with our existing platform.
okay.
But this is where you start talking from a user experience perspective. They love that, and everyone's like, "Oh, cool! I want that, but I want gray countertops," and that's where it stops. And that's
Yeah.
where it needs to be a two-stage thing. Is like, here's some creativity generation. Now we need to be able to control it and fine tune it. So yeah, but yeah, short answer is yes. Go ahead, Sam.
Their most recent artificial intelligence model, we're able to go in and say, I want brown cabinets, I want white cabinets, or I want wooden floors in this room. So we're providing a much higher level of customization than prior models. But that's the biggest thing, is you're in the field, our renderings are shot back to you after initial picture in 15 to 30 seconds. So you can be in the room with your client showing them real-time renderings of what their new room could look like with specifics. So if they say, if you show them a rendering and they're like, I really dislike these brown cabinets that it came up with our newest model, you'd be able to go in and say, okay, well, let's throw in white cabinets and see how that looks. So you're able to design with your client right there in the room with them.
So I will say that I used the Hauska model prior to this with with one of my drawings. I took my 3D version from SoftPlan and created an image and sent it in. It didn't get everything right, which I expected because I've seen that in most of them. However, what it did do was it allowed me to have a fairly good idea of what a modern version of the house would look like, a more rural version of that house would look like. And it allowed me, I think I got like 15 or 20 different versions of different things that I was telling it just to be able to understand. And it allowed me to say, no, I don't like any of these. None of these work. That's not what I asked you. And it would go back and redo it. So that was a great tool for me because it'll actually allowed me to go back to my 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 program and make some changes based on what I saw to make it look better. So I'm assuming that this will this will now allow me to take, from the looks of it, the ones that you had the most luck with was the 2D image, the front elevation.
Mhm.
Already show you where I want stone, where I want siding, where I want some things. I put it in there and it renders it into a photorealistic rendering.
Right.
That alone, I mean, that's a game changer, because there's a lot of times where my poor customers they just can't see it.
Mhm.
So to be able to tell it what color I want my siding, I already know where I want everything. I can put that in easily in a 2D through hatching. But to get colors and stuff, and to be able to change colors on the fly, what I want blue siding with gray roof, and you get it and you're like, oh, that's ugly. I want gray siding with a blue roof. I mean, you to be able to do that for your customers, I think is probably one of the biggest things. Like, I take I take my computer to my customer's house. After I have the initial, I show them a rendering, I show them the 3D model. The 3D model is never finished. It's never photorealistic. It looks like a cartoon. And basically it's so they can see what the shape is. It's the exact same thing. I can take each floor level and do the same thing. And I tell them, this is so that you can see the flow. Most people can't understand what it means when I tell them how this works, how this opens, and I can show you that. This can actually start helping us uh, design more to the customer's liking, and show them things that they like prior to even going to permit. From what I'm seeing, it's just we got to get there, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So, um, Ethan says, just to think, just 10 years ago in college, I would hit render, go to bed, and hope it was done when I woke up. And that is if it didn't crash. It's such a relief getting renderings quick now. Oh my goodness, yes. Ah, it's like when we were wait for an hour for the plotter to finish one sheet.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
I
so
mean, think about right now, you run something through any rendering program to get the finished rendering is hours, right? Or to do like a little walkthrough video is 100 hours on your computer of actual rendering time. We can do that in seconds. Now it's just those details that is what matters. Like the stuff, like to throw out a marketing image, like, oh, look how pretty it looks is fine, but the specific details that are very, very important to the clients, that's the game right now.
yeah. So does anybody else have any questions? You can post them on there or put
Did
up
we get the sign up form? Did that go on there somewhere?
no, it did not. I'll tell you what I will do. Actually, if you could just post the link, Shacy, can you put the link in the chat?
I got it.
Oh, okay. If you can put that in the chat, then everybody can use that. I will also send it out with the email for when the video is ready.
Okay.
And what I'll do is uh everybody who wants to use it from that can. And then you and I will stay in touch as to when to make it public. And
Okay.
when it's public, we will make it a link in the description, as well as a link that they can click on at the end of the video for that form.
Okay, good. So here's like, just from a completely transparent internal view, like if we could get, what do we have, 25 people on right now?
Right now, yeah.
So, if we can get 20 people coming on with 10 plans apiece that are ready to go online, okay, so that's internally that's now we got 200 things we got to deal with, right? And so a progression of building systems and processes and putting this stuff in play to compete, to make this thing work, we got to have 20, 50,000 plans, right? But it's just going to take time to get there. And so yeah, I guess to your point, yeah, if we could, deal with the group that we have right now and then make it public in a week and keep it live, keep it like an evergreen thing, that would probably be good.
Yeah, we'll work on that. This will be one of those where maybe I can, once you go live, I can start posting it in the residential design group about once every couple weeks just to keep it going.
Okay, and you can, I mean, if you're up for it, you can post it, maybe give us a week to kind of get this first group in order, but you could start going up that.
Yeah.
Because it won't be live. I mean, this is a beta group, right? It won't be live for 6 weeks, probably at best. I don't know.
So basically it would only be good, it'll only be good for those who can sign up.
Yeah, you're going to have to go through this and sign up for the beta platform. It's not going to be just open for to the public for
Right.
until we get it right, until we get some of this stuff worked out.
So I'm seeing people talk about how they already signed up and everything, and I still don't see the link in the chat.
I put the link in the chat here. I'll share my screen, and I've got a slide. Let's see where we at. So slides, presentation, right there. So Hauska.io or email leadership@hauska.ai. You know, and one of us will be in touch and go from there.
Okay. I love it. Everybody now is putting it in there. That's great. This old man needs it sometimes. Sorry.
Thanks, Haley. Appreciate you coming.
All right, Haley, thank you. Yes, we're going to probably go ahead and end this here shortly. If there's
Okay.
any other questions, anybody have anything else you want to?
Oh, I need one more.
Ask.
I mean, one more plug. I promised
Go ahead.
Steve Mickley I'd do it. If
Yeah.
you know, sign up for the AIBD conference in March. We're gonna be speaking there. We're gonna have specific like how you can use this stuff in your workflow, and they've been really good. So anyone that can go sign up and have them do it, please do.
Yes. Anyone who knows, Residential Design Group is a large supporter of AIBD. Myself being the Eastern Shore chairman of the Eastern Shore AIBD group. So yeah, that's a big thing for us. Go there, sign up, let them know I referred you, so that I can get a free year. And anyways, so we are at, it's 2:20 now. We've got about an hour and 20 minutes worth of video that I gotta make sure goes up, and everything's good. I think that we're probably done. I don't see anybody asking any more questions. So everybody's saying thank you, and I'll give you about a minute, and then I'm going to go ahead and end. So if you have anything else to say, go ahead.
No, I just want to thank everyone for coming. I mean, really appreciate it. We are very excited about the momentum that's behind this company, and we have just a phenomenal team all the way through from side to side. I'm not going to say top to bottom because that's not how we think. From side to side, we're in this to win it, and and we are going to be the edge. We're not going to be on the cutting edge. We're committed to being the edge and leading this this technology curve adoption. So
Okay.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
so
thanks.
all right. Okay, good. So we are pretty much done. Everybody have a good week, and I will get this posted and an email sent out to all of those of you who were registered for this within the next couple of days, and
Awesome.
we'll go from there.
Thank you.
And if you guys need to get a hold of Nick at all, shoot, you had your email up there. If you could pop that on the message so I can make sure it goes out with that email. that would be
I'll
great.
put it in right now.
Thank you.
Oh, all caps. Oh well. Okay. So okay. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
I am not seeing anything that you put on there. I don't know
Me?
why.
Oh, because I'm sending it to Shacy for some reason. Why am I doing?
Oh, okay.
My bad. Maybe if someone leadership at Hauska.ai. That's it. Oh, sorry about that.
Leadership at Hauska.ai. All right. Perfect. Thank you
Good.
all very much. Everybody have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Bye.